Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Mike, your host of Saturday Morning Multifamily Unplugged, and I am super excited about this morning's show, that's for sure. This seems to be one of those episodes that we booked this out months ago. And what's interesting is that we booked it months ago, and it kind of showed up in the calendar like that yesterday. And, a little bit unprepared and a little late. And you know what? It's all good. We're just kind of going to go with the flow and run with it. But what's interesting is our guest this morning. I'm excited about Sean Lashley, 10K Cards, that has a story that is just phenomenal about a journey as an entrepreneur and where he's been and where he's at today. And we're going to dig into that and really get some insight on how you can grow and learn and things that happen for you along the way. And I say that things that happen for you along the way, not things that happen to you along the way, because I'm a firm believer that our challenges, our situations in life are those challenges and situations that come up for us to get better, to grow better, to be better. And that's what we're looking to do. Hey, listen, if you like this episode and you like what we're doing here on Saturday morning, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us, love us, follow Sean, follow me, follow our guests, and we'll always bring good relevant content to you. So, all right, I'm going to bring our guest in this morning. Sean.
Good morning to Mike and the family. How are you?
How are you? Hey, it's kind of cool. You're sitting in the car. You set at a private airport, going to Miami. Where are you going from? That's what I want to know.
No, I'm right here in Florida. So it's just a couple of minutes for me.
Okay. All right. Good. So, Sean, one thing I always like to ask people when I bring them on my podcast is, I really want to know what describes you personally and professionally in one word.
Giving.
Boy, that's the thing that I got from you when we first talked. You and I met at Clubhouse. We met in a mutual friend's room, Steven's room.
That's right, the 413.
Yeah, 413.
That's
shout
right.
out to Steven and Susan and everybody.
That's right.
And we had a couple of conversations offline, which were really interesting. And I'm intrigued by your journey. I'm intrigued about where you came from, who you are today as a result of that journey, and how that worked in your best interest. So I really would like you to share this morning with our listeners and people just about all that journey and where you're at today. So go ahead.
All right, no problem. So, I live a pretty interesting life, Mike. So the journey that you want me to touch on specifically, is it the journey of the 10K cards? Is it the journey on social media? Which one do you want me to touch on, brother?
No, you know what, Sean? Your life journey, where you came from and where you're at today. That's the
beautiful.
Piece.
All right,
that's the piece about where you're at in your heart and how you got to that word giving, right?
I love that. All right, so I was born in Guyana in South America, and at the age of 9 years old, my dad had the foresight to get me the hell out of there because I only have 3 outcomes: prison, death, or leading a gang. Now, looking back, the only gang I would have been leading was the country if I was still there, because I would have been the prime minister. So when he moved me from there, I've always had this uncontrollable energy. But he figured if he took me out of my place of comfort, I'm going to have to recalibrate, readjust, and do things differently. But it was only before a matter of time before I mastered the area that I was in, and I was kind of like back into my natural zone, so to speak. But, my real journey, Mike, began 8 years ago. 8 years ago, right here in America, when I actually found my purpose. You're born twice. When your mom and your dad came together, your mom birthed you, that's your first birth. The second birth is when you discover what you were brought here to do. And I was given a very complex mathematical equation to figure out by a Jewish friend of mine. And I cracked the code, Mike, which really brought me to the point of, we're all one. We're all connected. If you want to have a great life, Mike, I would recommend you make a decision what you want to give to the universe. Because whatever you give to the universe, it will compound and it will come back to you. So when you ask me what is my one word, the word is given. The word is given. Because one day I remember I was on the highway and I asked myself this question: what's the one thing that I want to be remembered by? And the answer to that question was, I want to be remembered as one of the guys that give the most. I want to be remembered as the guy that give the most. And I said, okay, no problem. I have to make this make sense. How can you give the most and win? And then I said, look, it's very simple. If you can figure out a formula and a business strategy that involves giving with an appreciation factor to it, you won the game. So we created a product that is suitable for 8 billion people. And that's our digital business card. So when we were creating this product, we wanted to create a product that was equivalent to water and oxygen. And in my opinion, that's what we've created with a 10K card. So every individual have an identity. Every individual have a special gift. Every individual is good at that one thing. And if you put that one thing all together in one place and you present it to your audience, you present it to prospect, they will overlook it. They will cross-reference you. And Mike, if you're the guy they want to go with, they're going to say, well, you know what? We've seen enough. We've done our research. Mike is the guy that we want to go with. So that's what our product does for our clients.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know, and it seems like that's gotten to be a big thing these days is the digital business cards, right?
That's
People have a card, they walk up, they hold it over your phone, they scan something. But I like yours because it's so like it just shows up, right? I can send it to somebody and it shows up on their phone. And it's interesting. So it makes it so much simpler to use for people.
That's right.
And so where in that, Sean, is the giving piece, right? I mean, for you, you know, you have a heart that is just for other people, for doing things for other people. Talk about
Thank
that.
you.
What does that look like in your life? And where do you want it to be in your life?
Very good. So, Mike, here's the thing. When you genuinely, authentically care about yourself, you have no choice but to care for others. And the reason I have to start with yourself is because you, in my opinion, have 100% control over you. You can touch yourself. You can feel yourself. You don't need permission for it. You have you. All right. So if you can master the art of loving yourself, if you can master the art of hugging yourself, if you can master the art of saying, hey, that was a great job. If you can master the art of doing that for yourself and really embodying the feeling that it gives you, now you have the option to gift that to someone else. Because the fact that you were able to actually experience it for yourself without any question, now you know what it's like to give to others. Now, when you walk into a food court and they give you a sample, you can make a decision whether you want to eat the meal, yes or no. So the giving in our situation is we start off with a sample of our product. I remember the first time I met you, we actually created a sample of our product and we sent it to you. We said, hey, Mike, what's up? Take a look at this. Let me know how you like it. You tasted the sample, you're like, wow, this is pretty cool. All right, great. Now you have it. If you want to take it to the next level, if you want to further customize it, if you want to now monetize it, we can assist you in doing so. So our goal is just, we look at you, we see where your gifts are, we see what you're looking to project to the outside world, we put it all together in one place, and then we present that to you. And then once you take a taste of it, the possibilities start to activate within you. And then you reach out to us and be like, okay, what else can we do with this? How can we take this to the next level? So that's the secret to our business model. That's our success right there.
So I have a couple questions, and I want to talk about the card in a minute, right? That's my daughter, one of my daughters.
There we go.
I want to talk about that in a minute, but here's what I want to know. Okay, so you talked about having to love yourself first, and really like yourself before you can give.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're right. Before you can really give away to anybody else.
I can't hear you, Steve.
You can't. Are you? How's that? Can you hear me now? No?
I'm not hearing you.
How's that? Now? Sean, what happened?
What the?
Well.
Put me in the back room and then.
How's that now? Nothing yet? I'm surprised.
I can't hear what is going on here. All right, what's happening here?
How's that now?
Perfect. I don't know what
Yeah,
happened
you
there.
know what?
A call was coming in.
Something happened when I moved myself out. It said your audio was removed. Put yourself back. It'll be fine. So that was
Mike,
weird.
I'll tell you one thing. Situations are going to happen. All I need us to do is have the mindset of constantly keep refreshing. You'll trip the algorithm of anyone.
Yeah, it's technology, right? It has its pros and its cons. That's for sure. Anyhow, let's go back to this, because you said really to be giving, you have to really be loving yourself, right? You have to be giving yourself. How about let's talk about forgiveness? This came up this week a couple of times with people that I had conversations with, coaching clients and that. And people are, they get stuck in this place of not being able to forgive themselves or forgive others. And, you wind up in this mental prison, right? Where you walk around and you wonder how you're going to get through life. Talk about how that showed up in your life.
All right. So, forgiving yourself. Mike, I'll be honest with you, man. I've just been one of those young guys that I've always been in love with myself. I'm not going to lie to tell you. And I'm saying this to try to inspire someone else out there. And the reason I proved that to be true, so one of the things that I cracked 8 years ago, it was a secret to my birthday. When I understood what my birthday meant for me, I literally got the blueprint of myself. So I did a lot of research on it, and I have a 4-year-old son. My 4-year-old son has the same blueprint as myself, Mike. And I get to watch and I study my child because I didn't want my views of myself to be biased. I wanted to look outside to make sure I can validate my belief. And when I saw that self-love that my son has from birth, and I'm very protective of that self-love, by the way, because, when your reality is different from someone else's reality, some individual try to make the other individual less amazing to satisfy their reality. So as the dad that I am to my beautiful son, my awesome son, I make sure I protect his space and I help to nurture him into the destiny that he's about to walk into, so to speak. So in terms of forgive myself, Mike, I've just always believed in God 100%. And I always know that that's the eyes and the ears that sees and hear everything. And I do have a simple belief that if I do the right thing by our Creator, He will do the right thing by me. End of story. So if you are thinking, okay, how can I serve others? How can I bless others? How can I give to others? That's going to go out to the universe, multiply itself, and come back to you. So in terms of having to forgive myself, I'm so sorry. And I'll even share this with you, man. My wife now, we've been together now for 7 years. And prior to our marriage, she's been in a relationship for 17 years. The longest I've been into any relationship before my wife was 3 months. 3 months. Crazy. So my wife said, you've never been in a relationship. I've been in one for 17 years. And then I thought about it, Mike, and I said, you see, that's where our mindset differ. I've always been in a relationship with me. The other individual that I've been in contact with, we just was not compatible beyond 3 months. And I'm okay with that. But when I've transitioned through being single to being a loving, committed, caring, sharing husband, I understand the sacrifice it takes to share your world with someone else. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing that I want to say. But but I've always had that beautiful love affair in myself, Mike. I'm sorry. So forgiving myself, I'm just focused on adding value to others. And because you're so focused on adding value to others, it kind of eliminates the chance of you trying to be selfish, in my humble opinion. I stand to be corrected.
Would you say that that's like the, and I don't want to say quick fix or fix for other people, but would you say that if people grasp that philosophy, that they were able to give, that would help them forgive themselves, forgive others around them, and to let go of some of that stuff that keeps them trapped?
That's right. So let's talk about forgiving others just for a second.
Okay.
So I do have a belief that I'm God's favorite child. And I challenge everyone to hold on to that same belief. We all can have it if we wish. And because I'm God's favorite child, I do believe that God is going to do anything for me. And all God wants me to do is just to be his loyal servant. All he wants me to do is to live in his image. All he wants me to do is to make him proud. So, Mike, I do genuinely believe that if I'm constantly serving others, I don't ever have to worry what's going to come back to me. I just do believe the guy that I serve is unlimited. The God that I serve is unlimited. He makes things possible.
Mm-hmm.
So if all he's asking of me is to be in service of his people, of my other brothers and sisters, of his other kids, how can you go wrong with a babysitter like that? How can you go wrong with someone who hired you to babysit each other and to coexist with each other? That's the guy that writes the paycheck, so to speak. All right. So if you make the guy that writes a paycheck happy, he's going to give you a tip. And that's where the extra blessings comes in. So, fall in love with serving others. And, you can start with something simple. Start with a smile. Start with your energy. Start with a compliment. These things are all free. Don't tell me it costs money. Start with things that you don't have to go into your pocket for. And then it will start transcending into things that you can afford. But start with a smile. Start a compliment.
Yeah. So, isn't it interesting that when, we've walked around the last couple of years, several months, and if you're in Florida, you probably haven't experienced this as much as we have in the Midwest with these masks on, right? And just the simple smile.
That's right.
It's hard to negotiate with people for a smile in
That's
a
right.
store, in a coffee shop, it's kind of, it's been interesting to navigate that. So now with this mandate being lifted, and like this morning, I went to the store and out for coffee, and people are out with no masks, and it's kind of nice to see people smiling at each other.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, I'm going to throw another word at you. I want you to talk about gratitude.
Okay.
And what's your thoughts around gratitude and how that could actually maybe change somebody's life?
Gratitude actually is another cheat code to success. You can't be grateful and fearful at the same time. You have to choose one. You cannot be grateful and fearful at the same time. So if you have 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in 1 hour, and you focus 1 hour on being grateful, for 1 hour you won. For 1 hour you won the game. So when you're focused on being grateful, it's what is this doing for me as opposed to what is this doing to me? So the gratitude, in my opinion, and again, it's setting you up for success. If ever, Mike, like this morning, I got the there was so much shift. Like I was in Miami yesterday with an influencer of ours. We just got a new client on, and I remember I had a commitment with you, and I said, look, I have to be in position to have this meeting. This morning we had a few shifts within our schedule, and we had to move around. So I had to block this hour out where I could have this privacy, where I can have this conversation with you, unfiltered, and we had to move stuff around. So I wanted to be in my office, have the nice green screen on and all this beautiful background. But then again, I said, no, what am I committed to? What is the focus? The focus is reaching the audience. The focus is honoring our commitment. The focus is meeting you. Now, at 9:49, I checked my email, and I saw the Zoom connection. I'm on Zoom for like 10 minutes. And then like 1 minute to the hour, I text you. I'm like, hey, Mike, I'm on Zoom. Send you a screenshot. Like, no, it's StreamYard. The point I was trying to make to you is this. I was not going to allow that to shift our focus. Our focus was to get connected. Yeah. Our focus was to speak to the audience. Our focus was to inspire others. And that's the only thing that was focused on, Mike. Yeah. And, truth be told, Mike, there's a lot of people that try to get me on interview, that try to get me on these conversations. It doesn't happen. But, your approach was it came from such a beautiful space that saying no would have almost been adverse to success and gratitude. So,
here's why that happened. And I remember that conversation. We were talking about birth dates and numbers. And you said some things to me that were just so moving in that conversation that it was like I had to ask, and I knew you wouldn't say no. So
I like that. That because you came, and here's the thing. I love what you just mentioned right there, and I want the audience to hear this as well. You came from a place of abundance. In the abundant universe, the answer no does not exist. So whenever you're going to make an ask out there, you have to ask understanding the answer is yes. If you were to be told yes to everything you're going to ask, how big will your ask be? How considerate will your ask be? What will you ask for if the answer was already yes? So if you see the world as a bucket full of yeses, get out there. Let's do it the right way.
So hence the name of my company, My Core Intentions, right? Because I talk to people all the time about being intentional.
That's right.
Ask for what you want, right? Hey, the Bible is very clear. It says, knock and the door shall be open, ask and you shall receive. And
that's
you know
right.
what? It's the truth, right?
Yes.
So think about what you want in your life and how it shows up. Here's what I think people don't get a lot, Sean, is that it might not show up how we want it to show up, but it shows up.
There we go. There we go. Mike, you first. So here's what I want to think about just for a second. No one comes to this planet, no one comes to this self-development space and say, I want to be average. No one say, I want to have the ability to live the same weights at age 20 as when I was age 2.
Oh, God. Well, while we wait for Sean to log back in, and here we go. You know, this is just what we were talking about, right? We're just talking about technical stuff coming up and how things can change like that on you, and that you just have to be able to adapt, right? You have to be able to go in a different direction when it comes up for you, and you know, and equate that to your business. So if you were if you were trying to close a multifamily deal right now, and you were trying to, you know, you thought that you were going to close here. I think this is a great example. You thought you were going to close on Monday coming up, and it's Friday, and on Friday afternoon at 5:00, you get a call from your loan broker and the bank, and they're saying that they're not going to be able to close the deal for you on Monday morning, after you have a commitment, after you have a term sheet, after you have everything in order, and you've spent thousands of hours, thousands of dollars, and you've walked down this road. Now, what do you do? How do you deal with that? How do you, you know, how does that come together for you? Here's what I've done in the past. One thing I did.
And we're back. That was not even your fault. Where I'm parked, the sun was on the back of my phone.
Listen, I was just telling everybody. I said, well, there you go, you know, and I was just kind of talking about how do you adapt when things come up. So
there we go.
I'll tell that story on TikTok later. So I'll finish.
There we go. There we go. I'm changing direction of the car because the sun was on the back of us. So that's what messed us up.
Must be nice there today.
Oh, it's beautiful, man. I'm telling you. You know, another quick story, Mike. When the pandemic just happened, you know, we were in New York. And I honestly said to myself, if I had a swimming pool, it would have made this pandemic so much better for me. Because at least the kids could have been in the pool, they could have been having some fun, whatever.
Yeah.
So we came to Florida 2 years ago. And as we drove onto the golf course, I told my wife, I said, honey, in 2 months, make the arrangements, make sure we're here. 6 weeks later, we were actually in Florida. So we moved to Florida after coming on vacation because, you know, things are going to happen. Things are going to happen. Try to make it as rewarding as possible for yourself and your family. Yeah. And because we pushed that intention out to the universe, we were not going to fight. We're not going to argue. No. If we got a swimming pool with some more space, this will make our pandemic experience a better experience. It's not good for anyone, but it'll make it a little better. Yeah. So we did that, and you know, for 2 years we've been in Florida. It was one of the best moves ever, because with all the mandates and all this crazy stuff around the world, as you know, Florida has been always that welcoming place.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Hey, so talk about you know, you and I met on Clubhouse originally, right?
That's right.
Talk about Clubhouse a little bit. How, you know, what are you doing out there? It looks like you have a private room you're running. Talk about that some and what's going on there.
All right, so Clubhouse has been one of the most beautiful creations that birthed from the pandemic. Because when the real world, so to speak, shut down, then Clubhouse now became, quote unquote, the virtual world. So all we had to do was just adapt to it. So I'm one of the lucky guys that actually have a product that every room can benefit from. I'm one of those guys that actually have a product on the app that every individual on the app can actually use and it can actually benefit from. So one of our secrets are we have alliances with all the major rooms on Clubhouse.
Okay.
We connect with the founders of all the major rooms on Clubhouse, and then we just act as a support system for them. How can we serve? How can we serve your guest? And then from that, relationships begin to create and manifest from those relationships, from those interactions, and then we acquire new clients. We bring new clients on board. But where the 10K Cards brand is concerned, I would do a room now and again. But my main focus is how can I support the existing crowd, the existing group, because our goal is to service the many.
So it appears to me that outside of business, you really like to talk about things of the heart.
That is correct.
We really got into it. And you know what's interesting is you talked about marriage, you talked about loving yourself, and a lot of times you don't find the alpha talking about that today, right? You find people that are, I went to here's why this comes up. I went to an event the other night, and it was a real estate event. And
that's right.
One of the speakers that spoke did a lot of volume, a couple $100 million in volume, maybe even more.
That's right.
In 1 year. And I thought, man, it took me like 12 years to do that.
That's
but
right.
That wasn't the point. The point was that the attitude, how there was no humility in it, right?
That's right.
When I talk to you, you're very humble. You're very
loving.
You're very giving, and I think that there's a space there, a place there that people need to come from to do more like you. So
that's right.
Favorite charity?
It's the Covenant House. The Covenant House.
What's and they do what?
So they help teenagers to get off the street. They're trying to end teenage homelessness. And here's how funny this took place. There's a young lady by the name of Anna Abamarco. We met on Clubhouse, and she gave us her story. She's in the 1% of successful real estate agents out there. She's done very good for her career, very, very well. But she has a passion to help homelessness with teenagers. And when I saw the passion that she had for it, and I understood how our product can help to make that journey possible for her, I just fell in love with it. And to see a woman that's crushing it in real estate, but her heart is in serving others who can do better, who can afford, that's where we met. And I just made a decision that we're going to go all in with her, and we're going to make something phenomenal happen this year.
That's pretty interesting. I used to have a foundation. I had a foundation before my life turned upside down, right?
Right.
And we served homelessness. We had a big initiative to serve the homeless world.
That's right.
And, we did a lot. I'm in Chicago, and there's an area, county outside of Chicago that we partnered with another organization, and there's nothing more giving about getting a family off the street.
That is correct.
There's anything more rewarding than helping somebody who doesn't maybe even have the mental capacity to do it, but you help them do it, right?
That's correct.
It's kind of it's those things, I think, in our life that cause us to realize that there's more to it than just making millions and millions of dollars, right?
Mike, I've been very blessed to know wealthy people and rich people. The guy that you just described that did millions in 1 year, that's a rich dude. The first guy that inspired me to become a billionaire was a billionaire Jewish guy that walked around with no bodyguards. I was in the shopping mall one day. This was about, maybe almost 10 years ago. And I saw him walk in, and he said, that guy, I was like, oh man, what the heck did I do now? Because I've always been the number one salesman doing whatever I'm doing. I'm like, oh man, what did I do now? Who did I piss off? So they called me and they said, we have a project that you're probably the only guy that can help us with. So I'm like, okay, sure, no problem. I took a look at it. It was something to serve the community. And I used my skills, my resources, and my connection to help a client to get rid of almost $100 million worth of competition in 5 years. So he asked me, he said, look, I will give you anything for what you've done for us. I said, the only thing I want in return is unfiltered answers when I ask you questions about your journey. That's the only thing I want from you in return. I don't want any money. I don't want nope. I just want unfiltered answers to the questions I'm going to ask you about your journey with success. Because this is a billionaire, Mike, that was walking the streets without one bodyguard. No one knew who he was. People who found out what he had, no one wanted to harm him. And that to me was true success. And I've gotten the secrets from him. So this is why everything you see of me, Mike, just like yourself, you're worth many billions, but you're just not aware of it as yet. That's number one. Number two, money was not an option. How would you live? If money was truly not an option, how would you live? And the secret is, the more you have is the more you can help. The more you have is the more you can inspire. And when done correctly, the multiplication factor takes effect.
Sean, do you think it's hard for most people to learn how to think that way or to give that way?
If you walk into a fork in the road where you go left or right, it's a simple decision. I'm either going to go left or I'm either going to go right. Make a decision. If the answer you make is going to be wrong, make the decision quick. Find out that you took the wrong turn quick. Then come back and then go the other way. So that's my way of doing it. It's not hard. It's a decision away.
It's all about choices. We wake up every morning with choices. We can choose to be happy. We can choose to be not happy. We can choose to love somebody or not love somebody. We could choose to cherish our wife or not.
That's right.
We're filled with choices every day. Serve our client, not serve our client. So, and sometimes, and hey, listen, I've had times in my life I haven't made the best choices, right?
Right.
Bad business decisions, made some bad relationship decisions, and but we both have said it. Both of us said it this morning at two separate times. Those are things that happen for us, not to us.
That's right.
And I think that there's so much merit in that comment alone, because you take on that attitude that it happened for you, not how about you're planning to go somewhere, you're late, you can't get there, the car won't start, you have to call an Uber, finally you get there and you realize that between where you were and where you had to go, there was an accident. And if you would have left right at that time, you'd have been involved in that accident. And
it's like you're reading my mind. It's like you're pulling it out of my mind, Mike. Here's what I wanted to share, and I think this will help our audience tremendously well.
Go ahead.
Living in the present moment is what I think it's a very worthy goal. And if you can appreciate this moment right now, where the two of us are actually enjoying a beautiful conversation, then you want to understand that every micro detail of your life brought you to this point right now. I want you to think about this. There's someone that's going to watch this video. There's someone that's going to hear something that's very thought-provoking. There's someone that's going to make a decision to change their life. Someone will become a billionaire out of listening to this conversation, and they're going to help a lot of people. 10 years later, you can look back to this very same conversation, and you can say, wow, we did that. We're doing that right now, Mike. We're doing that right now. So 10 years later, when someone comes to you and they give you a phone call, and I said, Mike, I want to thank you so much. There was something you said in the way in which you said it that caused me to make a decision that changed everything. And this is where I am right now, based on that conversation that you were having. When you get that phone call, Mike, it's going to be one of the most rewarding phone calls you've ever gotten. At that point, you're going to say, I wish I had a different breakfast. I wish I was in a different state. You're not going to be saying that. You know what you're going to say? Wow, that was amazing. Yeah. So to answer your question, Mike, whenever anything is going on in my day, I'm saying, God, you're up to something, and I trust him. So anytime things are not going the way I plan it, I get excited because I know I'm being repositioned, I'm being repurposed. What I thought it was going to be, it's not where it's at. God is taking me somewhere else. So that's another cheat code right there, brother.
You know, and here I just have to comment on what you said about somebody somewhere along the line is going to walk up to you. Well, you know, I've told my story a number of times, and I continue to try and get out there and be public about it and very transparent. You talked about transparency, but I had somebody walk up to me one day, a CEO of a pretty major company, and he said, you know, I have to tell you, I was planning to go this way. And after listening to you today, I've made a choice that I'm going to go this way. I think you might have saved my life. And the power in our stories that people can get, whether it's today, tomorrow, or 10 years from now, because of what we'll live and breathe in this episode that we do and put on, you know, on social media and leave it out there. And somebody's going to hear it somewhere that needs to hear it. I'm a true believer of that.
That's right.
So when we can make a difference.
That's right. Now, you just, anything that you're going to quote unquote learn, Mike, you heard it before.
Yeah.
You were just not in the right time and space.
What's that saying? When the student's ready, the teacher
will appear. That is correct. So that's why every conversation that you're a part of, every conversation that you're going to be having, I want you to be completely in the moment, because every moment that we're living and we're experiencing is life transforming. You know, I grew up watching Tony Robbins. And so just to give you a story on me as a black kid, and you know, anyone in their feelings get out of it, let me share this. I was never that black kid that was exposed to racism. I was never that black kid that was exposed to unfair treatment. I was never that black kid that was treated like the quote unquote stereotype. This is why, Mike, at a very early age, I was always a hard worker. And I was a little quicker than most. And I made a decision that I need to find a way to go where the money is. And the reason I talk about money a lot is this. Money helps to make life a little easier. With money you can get, with money you can do good things. And with money you can make the process quicker and simpler. So I understood, because, you know, growing up in the Caribbean, the quote unquote big money was in the pockets of the quote unquote the white guy, let's call it that way. And I mean this respectfully and humbly. So I said, okay, Sean, how do I attract the money from the white guy without appearing to be threatening? And also in reverse, how do I become a magnet where that guy's going to want to give me some money? Step one, focus on your speech, the way you present yourself. Step two, focus on the way you dress. I was never that guy who would wear my pants on my butt, have my underwear showing. I was never that guy. Always dress professional, always outdress the person that I was going to go meet. And in fact, one of the $1 million relationships that I have, I remember when I went and I met my Jewish partner approximately 8 years ago. I pulled up in a suit and I was meeting him at a garage. So when I met him, I was well dressed to sign the contract, and he thought we was just having an introductory meeting. We did a handshake, made a few $1 million over the years, Mike, and it just showed me that when you show up ready for success, success will find you. Success don't care how old you look. Success don't care about the color of your skin. Success care about the principles that you're following. That's going to give you that outcome. That's what it comes down to me. So my inspiring words to this, guys, is this. When we start seeing ourselves in each other, when we start seeing there's no separation, so to speak, our life will become so much better. Because if I come across someone that has opposing views of mine, it gives me an opportunity to use this God-given talent to engage with that individual and share with them a perspective that they have never seen before. But one of my secrets, Mike, I always go into the perspective of the other person first. So one of my cheat code to successfully interacting with others, I always go and find out what their perspective includes first. And then once I can get there, I can either A, appreciate it, I can understand it, or I can agree with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a few options. So, wow, that's pretty interesting. I've never looked at it before. Thank you for sharing. Wow, I literally think the same thing of this. Or, so you always find it. And then from that, I said, let me ask you a question. And then I will now present mine. But 100% of the cases for me, when I enter into someone else's reality, they were willing to venture off into mine. Yeah. So I think that will be a little helpful to the audience as well.
Yeah, awesome. And we've got a lot of people listening in today, so that's kind of nice. So, hey, Sean, it has been great having you here this morning. I appreciate it. You got a heart of gold. You got a smile a mile wide. And, I'm sure that there's some people waiting for you somewhere. Tell people how they connect with you, get a hold of you if they want to reach out and talk to you about 10K cards or talk to you just about life and the journey that they might be on.
So my number one place, guys, is Clubhouse. If you go on Clubhouse, I'm on Clubhouse most of the day. You'll find me there. But the quickest way to get in touch with me, guys, my name is Sean Lashley, SEAN. So if you add 10K at the back of Sean, if you go to sean10k.com, you'll find my personal business card. Everything is right there. And Mike, my friends ask me, are you crazy to be publishing a number out there? I said, I'm going to be that billionaire that when you call me, I'm actually going to sell you something. Whether it's going to be a nonprofit, whether it's going to be a mission, whether it's going to be a partnership. When someone calls me, I'm going to sell you on something. And it could be the better version of yourself.
Yeah.
So if I'm not in the meeting, my phone is always available. And if someone called me, I do honestly believe that God is ordering everyone's step. So if someone called me, they're meant to call me. They're supposed to call me. So I normally allot approximately 5 minutes for any conversation. Yep, and then after 5 minutes, I'll make a decision. Do we continue? Do we move it in another direction? So to find me, Mike, is very simple. It's sean10k.com. sean10k.com. That's it.
Sean, I appreciate you being here. Hey, I'm going to move you to the green room for a minute. Will you hang out with me backstage for a minute?
Not a problem. Let's do it.
Right. Let me say goodbye to everybody.
All right.
Hey, everyone. That was Saturday morning multifamily unplugged with a little bit different twist this morning. What a great guest, Sean Lashley, 10K cards. Reach out to him if you want to have a conversation or find out more about his product. But really what we talked about was life and the journey and how we can give and serve and help others. And it's about that unconditional serving for others, right? Giving back, gratitude, and forgiveness were the big things that we really talked about today, which were so cool. So I think when you master those, multifamily is simple. So, hey, everybody, we're here every Saturday morning. I'll look forward to seeing you. And one last reminder, this week coming up, we have our Women's Day event on March 8th in the morning. It'll be 3 hours, 8 o'clock Central. If you have not registered for that event, please send me a message or send Diana in my office a message, and we will get you a link to get registered for that. A couple of great speakers just going to talk again about, journeys in life and being an entrepreneur, a female entrepreneur in today's environment. So I look forward to seeing you there, and everybody have a great week. Thank you.